Hi, everybody, and welcome to Lord of the Rings. This is our second session. We are so excited. I'm just going to get Momo to say hi so that I can make sure that everybody in the chat can hear you.
Oh, hello there.
I mean, it looks good on my end, so hopefully it looks good for everybody else. Um, my OBS struggles continue. I'm sorry that we're running a little bit late. OBS ate all of my camera placement boxes, and you can see that that's a lot. And Momo, remember I was telling you before the stream that I was going to have to eat my mic to get it to have any
Oh,
volume? No,
yes.
as soon as we went live, it tripled the volume.
Oh,
So
oh,
good.
yeah. Love that.
Happy
Love that.
fun times in the Shire. That is how things are going. Welcome everybody to DMDM Studios. This is the All Fem Lord of the Rings cast, where we are playing and fixing the misogynist piece of shit rule set that Decipher launched not in 1972, but in 2002. So we're fixing it, and we're having a
Oh,
lot of fun. And thank you for joining us. We're super
you know,
excited that you're here.
it's not that surprising. I was in high school at that time, and that's when I was heavily gatekeeped away from D&D. So it's not too
Yep,
surprising,
I
right? Not too
mean,
yep.
surprising.
I mean,
That was
definitely D&D and TTRPGs in general have come a long ways
Yeah.
in I would even say the last 5 years have been really revolutionary for people finding a space here. But we're
Yeah.
so glad to have you here. I'm gonna go around and get all of my players to introduce themselves, say hi, and then we'll get right into play. So we will go reverse alphabetical order. So Nikki goes first.
hello, everybody. I'm Nikki. I'll be playing Pepper, the Hobbit Mariner.
Excellent. And Momo.
Hello, I'm Momo. I am playing Lane, the wandering minstrel dwarf. There are women dwarves in this
Yeah,
Middle Earth.
right.
Yeah.
We are not a myth.
100% there are women dwarves here.
Hell yeah.
Fantastic. Lydia.
Hello, I'm Lydia. I will be playing Maximilian, or Max to their friends, which they have more of now this week. And they are a human warrior.
We love it. Our favorite sticky bun grandma, Lulu.
Hi, I'm Lulu. I'll be playing Nellie, who is a grandmotherly hobbit who loves to bake sticky buns for her friends.
Fantastic. And JJ.
Hi, I'm JJ, and I will be playing Kiana, Sticky Bun Fanatic, and Barbarian, yeah.
Did you guys see that art that Lost Haven, who is a DMDM Studios regular, made? It's, oh my gosh, come on now, come on. Court.
So cute.
So cute.
Hello, I am Court. I am playing Covet or Coco, the elf magician who talks to horses sometimes.
Horses, and it is divisive in this party.
More
Yeah.
divisive than expected.
100% agree. Could not agree more as the narrator for this tale. Arc.
Hi, I'm Arcanian Ending, or Arc for short. I am playing Pen, who is a noble who heroically separated said horse from the carts last time. So
It's true. It's true. Fantastic. And I am your narrator. I'm used to saying DM. I am your narrator, Sarah, here for a few more weeks. We're just getting into it. So let's review what happened in our last session. Our fellowship convened in Bree, looking for coin, renown, or companionship. They decided to head to Bafstead. There is work to be had in this small hobbit village. Grandma Nellie immediately assembled her team around her sticky buns, and they agreed to set off together. She's the leader in my headcanon. Along the way, nearly in Bafstead itself, they meet a young hobbit lass. Well, I should say they rescue a young hobbit lass. Her name is Anualda, and she is returning from a rendezvous, I guess is the term that we will use for that, with the new town bard. His name is Dronic. He's half hobbit, half human. And it seems that her cart and pony had been attacked as she was returning, as she left from this secret meeting with her love. This this horse attack, this wild pony, I should say it's a pony, it's not a real horse. This pony attack that was Anualdo was saved from immediately set a deep disturbance in the force for our dwarf and our hobbit mariner, who for the rest of the game will be on the lookout for further horse-based equine threats. And I feel like we should maybe change from Rangers of the North to equine threats of the North or something.
Horse Haters Anonymous.
That's right. Amazing. HHA.
That's definitely Lane's secret club that she has.
Our new heroes escorted Anualda to Bafstead proper, where they found an inn called the White Plough. They had a good meal, some delicious proper hobbit ale, and they heard rumors of a haunted house in town. Talk of it seemed to upset some of the locals, including the nephew of the deceased, Tom Sandheaver, who now lives with Boris Bracegirdle and works as a farmhand on the sheep ranch. Olmec, who is the town candlemaker, is 100% certain that he saw spectral activity at the house, at Horace Holdman's house, and he also makes delicious dill pickle candles. So, those were purchased and ready to go. A meek, mousy paper pusher of a man came in near the end of the night to invite the heroes to the magistrate's home, to Anualda's father's home, to receive accolade and or further work if they were looking for it. And after a long night's rest, our fellowship arises to the sweet sound of birds and provincial life on the Shire. And I have to ask Nellie, our grandma, what time she rises. I get the feeling she's the earliest riser of this bunch.
She is, and she actually didn't get a very good night's sleep. She was a little, I don't know, taken aback. This is her first time outside the Shire, and Bree it was different. She expected it to be different, but Bafstead is a hobbit, or at least partially a hobbit town, and she was a little taken back by just all of the suspicion and the secrets that seemed to be swirling around this town. And so she got up extra early and did some baking. And she made some meat pies with leek and mushroom. And she's also made some cardamom sweet rolls and some berry hand pies. And her very favorite thing, which her great-grandmother gave her the recipe for, are some sugar-coated donuts, which are actually what my great-grandmother used to make. And I didn't realize until I was much later that they are the exact same kind of donuts as you get at the Chinese buffets.
Oh.
My German grandmother who made them for me, or great-grandmother who made them for me. But Nellie's been up cooking, and so when the rest of the party wakes up, there's quite a spread, and she's also made some Shire breakfast blend tea, if anyone wants some.
Lovely. It's got this kind of tobacco-y, like a good cigar box, just that smell. And at first you're like, well, tea, so no, but it is very soothing to the mind and body, as many Hobbit foods are. Grandma Nellie, as you're in the kitchen early in the morning in this inn at the White Plough, Narina and her husband Harv, who is the master of the kitchen, are there just kind of chatting about their day, being very sweet. They're the picture-perfect couple. She stands about 6 to 8 inches taller than he, because he is pure Hobbit and she has that human Hobbit lineage. And she's very doting and loving to him as he goes about. She's kind of leaning against the counter. She takes some of the tea right away. And you get the picture of this very loving family that has come together. And it's really refreshing to see. You see all of their kids, all 5 of their kids, 3 boys, 2 girls, come down the stairs in the morning, have breakfast there in the kitchen as a family. They welcome you warmly to come and partake, as is Hobbit tradition. There is never a stranger when one is in the kitchen. And so you're sitting there, and you overhear one of the boys who, the 3 sons are kind of the chambermaids. They are or chamber misters. I don't know what that term is. They are the housekeeping staff of this inn. The girls tend to work more outside. They were the ones who grabbed the horse and took her into a stable and kept her safe until Anualda was ready to take her home. And one of the boys says, well, I heard Tom Sandeaver being real upset last night. That's too bad. I always liked him. Wouldn't want him to be too frustrated. We want him to keep coming. I like it when he comes around. And he gets this like little blush along his cheeks. And the mom, like ever so wisely, Narina, she's like, oh, darling, don't worry about it. I'm sure that he will continue to pop around. Maybe next time he's here, you should come out and serve him. I don't have to do all that. We're trying to get you, and you're a grandma, she is trying to like encourage him to make a stand, to take a stance, shoot a shot, but not in the toxic way that fucking men are using it right now, in the good way. And sorry, side divergence. You also then hear one of the girls ask, just very quietly, and she kind of, as soon as it comes out of her mouth, she looks at you and her eyes go a little bit wide because she realized that she shouldn't have said anything in your presence. And she said, so Anualda was mentioning that that Seth had sent a letter to his mom and sister. And immediately she looks to you and she's like, you know what? Never mind. I will bring this up later. And there is this, for the first moment this morning, there is this kind of nervous spark of energy in the air as the name Seth is brought up.
Okay, and Ethan, Nellie's just like, it's okay. I know we're strangers, but it's okay. You don't have to worry. I mean, I know you might not want to bring it up, and it is hard when you have all this dynamic going on in the village. But I understand, and I'm happy to give you some tea. And if you'd like to tell me anything more, I'm happy to listen. I'm a neutral bystander, and I don't have a stake in any of your village politics.
Give me a persuade check. And because you have been helping out this morning, and because you're a hobbit, I'm going to give you advantage. So when you make your roll 3 dice and take the 2 highest ones to make your persuade check.
Okay, so 3 dice. Well, I rolled 2 6s.
What
and
critical success!
And 1, so.
That's a critical success.
Yes.
So
You see, no, that is basically like a nat 20. A critical success is exceeding, in fact, rarer, I think, than a nat 20. So very well done. I think it's our first one of the series, not our last, to be sure. Way to go, Grandma Nellie. And the family immediately like eases, and you start to hear the story of a hobbit lad who had been banished from the village. And immediately this strikes you as odd because hobbits are rehabilitative. They really believe in like restorative justice circles. They're not people who banish people. This is odd for so there is this curiosity of what did he do that was so bad. And Narina, kind of sensing that she needs to give some context to this story, she tells you that around 3 months ago, a a sum of money totaling 5 gold pieces, which is a lot in the Shire. That is like 10 months savings. It is a lot of money. These 5 gold pieces were stolen from a chest in her and Harv's room. And she reported it to Brontis Bellwether, Anualda's dad, and the local magistrate. During the investigation, a very expensive ring was found in the room of Seth Sandybanks. And his family are the soap makers in town. They are not, it's a single mom raising twins, Seth and his sister. And they definitely would not have something like this like passed down to them. Seth had a fair trial as far as everybody feels. They feel that the trial was very fair, and he was found guilty of this theft. And Brontis made this very, these things don't really happen around here, and we're going to take a stand, and mandatory minimums, and he was just like the worst, and he banished young Seth. And he's been gone for a couple of months, and there is still some question, like for sure he had this ring, and that's sus, and the money's missing, and that's sus, but the Sandybanks are good people, so like. And they didn't have a lot, but they had enough. So, there's, especially in this family, even though it was their money that was stolen, there is conflicted feelings about how this all went down. And so they tell you this, and soon you hear kind of the tromping of boots, as I'm sure Max, being the soldier, maybe is the next one.
Get up and do his morning calisthenics, push up.
Of course.
In the door frame.
Definitely. Your boots kind of scraping against the wall as Penn gets woken up early. Just that kind of like remembrance of, oh God, early mornings and obligation and duty. Yeah. And the rest of you wake up over the next little bit and come down to this delicious looking spread out on, not in the kitchen itself, that's more of like a family space, but in the main kind of common room. And you have a day because you're not expected at Brontis's until kind of the late afternoon. Dinner time was the invitation. So what are you all doing?
Well, Nellie's making sure that everybody gets enough to eat, of course, and that their tea is topped off, or if they want something else, she's definitely making sure everyone is comfortable and got a good night's sleep.
Sounds good.
I feel like Lane probably wakes up a little later. It's probably was snoring, and just like had one leg out the blanket and kind of wakes up sniffing the baked goods. Coco,
I think
like nudging for Coco over there. Coco. The big
Coco
goods.
was like fully dressed, sitting on the edge of the bed. She's like looking through her thing, like waiting for you to wake up.
We've got to get the cinnamon rolls before the horses get them.
Now, why do the horses want?
Oh, hi. I was having a horrible nightmare.
About horses and cinnamon rolls?
Yes. It took all of them. They didn't leave even one for me.
It's okay, Lane. It was just a nightmare. She goes and reaches past her head to like, no, let's get up and go get some cinnamon rolls before they're actually gone, shall we?
Yes, that's a great idea. Reaches for their flute axe and their doodle as they go down the steps. Just like happier now.
No longer has a 1,000-yard stare.
Yes. Literally like woke up like, oh my God. And then was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Once they get to the table, Coco's gonna make sure she gets like at least a sample of like every single thing that she's made. She wants to try all of it.
There is this really delightful, especially in the cardamom, this remembrance of home for you. There is just this really delicate layering of spices that for you as an elf, it just invokes that sophistication, that gorgeousness, that extra level that the elves go
Extra.
to in their food preparation and in their lifestyle preparation. Like, not that there was like influencers, but elves would have been them, like
Oh my
just
God.
definitely taking
Coco
Insta
vlogs.
photos. Yeah, 100%, 100%, 100%.
Oh
Um,
my God.
Coco Coachella, come on now.
Oh.
It was sitting there. It was sitting there. I had to. I had to. I loved watching Coachella last week. Never go, but I loved watching it. Okay, Pepper, how does your morning start?
Well, Pepper is used to waking up to the absolute yelling of seagulls outside of her window. So with the absence of seagulls, I think that Pepper's probably going to wake up a little bit later than she normally does. But she's from a fishing family, so they get up pretty early to get the boats out. So she probably wakes up like, an hour later than she normally would, but that puts her at like 7 a.m. So she's going to wander downstairs being very tired because she's not used to walking all this way. I got little legs, and go immediately, like beeline to the meat pies. And then just like
Of course.
pie, tea, pie, like nothing but pies and tea.
Love it. Absolutely owning it. Max, what does your morning breakfast look like?
Probably sticking with the protein. So more of the meat pie. I probably eat the least of everybody here. Again, gotta stay in fighting shape. So staying away from the donuts, but like really tempted. Maybe like kind of take like one real sneaky.
Take one, wipe all the sugar off of it, take a paper towel and like blot as much of the
Yeah, blot some
oil
of it.
off of it as you can. For sure,
my
for
Walked a lot
sure.
yesterday. I can afford one donut.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And Penn, what does your breakfast habits look like?
I feel like Penn might be a little hungover, drinking and gambling with hobbits last night. So
Yeah,
like a lot of
so.
tea and just nibbling at whatever seems good in that moment. Maybe some like sugar and gravy combination,
100%. Narina kind of sees this and quick to be the good host, not wanting to intrude on Nellie's space, but quick to be the good host. She brings you over like a greasy fried egg to just kind of soak some of that up. She can tell a little bit bloodshot in the eyes, and she understands. Her mom's family was human, and definitely she knows that look. She saw that after many a family get together. So she supports you there. I would imagine in my head canon, but please JJ feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. Kiana is the last one up. Yeah. Was she staying in the inn or did she stay outside last night?
Oh no! See, I was outside. Kiana was outside in a
That's right.
cart of hay,
Right.
real comfy. So Kiana's definitely gonna wake up once everybody else kind of starts waking up and people start coming outside and the hustle and bustle of the day. So probably later than everybody else. And of course, I'm gonna like stride in there, push the doors wide open. Good morning, walking in, and then as I'm walking, there's like hay that's like falling off of my fur coat as I'm coming into these people's houses.
Unbothered.
Hello, I'm like totally unbothered. I, pull up a chair right on the table, and I'm just gonna sit there and just start filling up this plate full of all types of food, and it's gonna like slowly stack up. And as it's stacking up, Nellie's like, oh, I think I need to make more food. I'm just gonna start going in and be like, and as I'm saying, I'm like, so how was everybody sleeping? And there's like food just coming out, and I'm just like,
Just in this almost like epic Cookie Monster at a farm kind of a situation.
Yeah.
Food is being sprayed from around your face as straw is also like coming off of your body. You are like Linus from Peanuts. Like there's just like that cloud of, of
Yeah.
food and straw and kind of mess around you. I think is it not Linus? I could be wrong. It is Linus.
so.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
It is.
Look
Yeah.
look at me remembering stuff from more than 2 days ago. Fantastic. And breakfast comes and goes, and you guys have a more than delicious, slightly small portions for hobbits. Pepper, you're feeling like, definitely we need to have a conversation around preparing more food. This is not as much as hobbits normally have, but adequate considering that you're on the job. Um, and you have the day to kind of explore. So what would you all like to do?
We've got the day, guys. Do we want to do a little like recon? We could look
Yes.
for those wolves we came here for. We could check out that haunted house that the drunk gamblers were talking about. We got some scoping out we could do before dinner.
Yeah.
Personally, haunted house.
Haunted house. We could go check on that demonic horse, make sure it hasn't killed anybody else.
The
I'm
horse
not
is
going near
Yes.
that horse.
Yes. We need to be very, very careful of that horse.
Oh, did she ever do any riding around that house? I don't know. I could talk to the horse.
Tell the horse that we're on to it.
Maybe
Sure.
Keanu would definitely just look at Coco and be like, tell the horse, one hoof in the wrong direction.
Tell Coco, you tell that horse that I've got the eyes of a hawk and the ears of a fox.
Horses and hawks they don't really fight in the wild. I don't think they fight foxes either. I don't know how
You
that
ever
would be
seen
perceived.
one not fight?
horse. I've seen lots of horses not fight.
I've seen
Well,
many horses
horses
not
I've
fight.
seen,
In
but
fact, I would
not
say the majority of horses that I've seen have not been fighting.
How do you know they're probably fighting when you're not looking?
I'm usually looking.
They're very
Sneaky.
sneaky.
Yeah.
Yes, sneaky and mischievous and clever.
They can be clever. Of the horses that I've talked to, I wouldn't say that sneaky is an adjective that comes up for me personally. But, maybe we've met different horses. You've had quite a lot of travels before we met.
Yes, and I've yet to meet a horse that I like or trust. You know what they
Well-
say? They say don't look a horse in the mouth. I say don't look any horse in the mouth.
That's not where its eyes are.
Look them right in the eyes so they know that you're on to them.
So, haunted house?
Haunted house.
As far as it's away from the horse, yes.
I think they mentioned at the game that the house was more haunted at night than during the day. So maybe it would be better to go after sunset to the house.
After dinner.
No.
You're probably right.
The fancy one is right.
We could always check it out before it's haunted, possibly
Little
too.
recon.
Or we could go there sort of at
What is that
sunset and
now?
wait for the transition.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Oh,
think
like at dusk.
We're expected for dinner though, are we not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could have an early dinner. We could. I'm feeling so
She wants that
hungry. We
free.
could just have some dinner right now. Couldn't you all have some dinner right now? Because I sure could.
That would be so rude. I cannot explain how many
Just show up at
etiquette
the,
that
at the
would be
door like
breaking.
bang, bang, bang. We're here
We
for dinner. I know it's 9:30 a.m., but we're here for dinner.
It's a
It's
dwarven
your dinner that you invited us to.
a dwarven dinner. Oh, we're here for the dwarven dinner. Us dwarves really like to eat our dinners early because we can get to bed early and rise early.
That's real early.
I would
Kind
agree.
of like second breakfast. It's the same thing practically, right?
I'd agree, but I feel like that would reflect on me poorly, and we wouldn't want that to happen. We want him on our good side, don't we?
Yeah, we'll save it for another time. Dwarven dinner. We don't really have our dinner that early.
So we could go somewhere else and then have dinner and then go to the haunted house.
We could go ask some of those farmers that have been missing animals. See if we can figure out the
That's a
rules.
good idea.
You're right. I forgot about the missing animals. That's a terrible crisis. We should probably address that.
If we do this, we need to be very, very careful. She kind of stage whispers to the rest of the group. Like, I imagine Coco standing near her, but she's just like away from Coco, but stage whispering.
I'm higher up than everyone else.
Yeah, higher, and she just whispering to the rest of the group, like,
project less.
We have to be very careful because Coco is very susceptible to the wiles of the animals. They speak into her mind. It's very dangerous.
And with this stark and ominous portent of the future from the resident dwarf, you all have a choice. So in the village, as you exit the white plow, there is many different people coming and going. This village is kind of 35, 50 people that you can tell that are just around and getting their morning food, by getting provisions for the day. You see in the far out fields that there are shepherds and sheep. There is a cattle ranch north of the town. There is a variety of industry here. You already know the candle maker. You can see the different signs around. There is a local tanner, a blacksmith, the soap maker, a couple of different sheep ranches. There is, let's see, who would see this? Kiana, you right away clock someone who just gives off super bad bitch energy. She is just this brick house of a hobbit woman. And you can hear her long before you see her. Hobbits are adept at hiding, but you hear her, and not just like her voice. You know who you get who this person is just from hearing her yell across the courtyard at some like little hobbit kids that are on their way to school, and she's yelling at them to not come too close to her house, even though it's like the common sidewalk, like anybody can walk anywhere here. They're not like on her lawn or whatever. There is a miller, and you can see that there is like a town mill here. So there's lots of different places to go, and if anybody needs anything or anybody would like to see anything, there is at the end of the street, you can see a house that, while everybody else is kind of going around their business, people are making wide arcs around this one particular house at the end of the street. Nobody is going anywhere near it. And so for the more perceptive amongst you, you would be able to tell right away, this is probably the haunted house.
That's the house.
Well, we're not going until later, are we? Or
yeah, but
are we changing the plan already?
Make a note of it.
Good to know where it is, I guess.
Okay. She's literally making a note of it.
Just writing that down.
Mm-hmm. Write that down. Write that down.
No, just write that down. Add this to my stories I've been telling you.
I have added a bunch of on the map names of the people and what they do in town. So if that might help you, I can also move your actual tokens into town. Oh, and I have we updated our Kiana token. Let me go grab it from the.
Hey.
Hey. There it is. And I'll move you guys down here by the white plow. And you guys can tell me where you would like to go.
I think I would like to go and talk to the crazy old lady. She's giving me a big cat lady from The Simpsons vibes. And I want to go check that out.
Marge's sisters, very much like she's kind of both of them for sure, for sure. You as you go over, so that is Andorra Grandman. She's at the end of the one lane. And as you go over, you see her pop her head out the window to see who is near her house and on her street. And she clocks you, and she doesn't necessarily, you're a hobbit. You are a hobbit that she doesn't necessarily know, but you're a hobbit. She doesn't see inherent threat there. Is anybody else going with Pepper?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, do we want to divide and conquer? Or do we want to stick together?
Pepper has wandered away, so.
Oh, okay.
Is that did Pepper go to the lady who was screaming at the kids? Is that
Yeah.
who Pepper's going to? Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go with her.
Okay.
As I walk away, do we that would divide and conquer then? Or do Lane's like standing like
Follow them.
like a freaking deer in headlights? Like, what do we do?
Okay, so Pepper and Kiana are going to see Andorra. Pin, what's your plan?
Having overheard the conversation last night, I kind of want to meet the minstrel that Anolda was talking about. I wrote down Doric.
Doric, yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Doric. Yeah, just I've heard so much.
Absolutely. He is the nephew of the owners of the White Plow. So your best bet may be to duck back in and talk to Narina and see when he's expected. Lulu, what is Nellie doing?
Nellie was going to see if there's any sheep farmers or if they have any stalls where they're selling sheep's milk, anything like that, and just ask about if they've lost any of their sheep, because we've heard that there have been some attacks, and just try to get some information about the animal attacks.
You do see that there is one kind of to the north of town and one to the south of town. The one to the north of town you recognize from last night. It's an elder, gentle hobbit and a younger lad hobbit. They were playing cards last night. They were, that's Boris Bracegirdle is the elder, gentle hobbit, and Tom Sandheaver is the young kind of shepherd farmhand at his work. And they're a little bit north on this map.
Okay, she'll probably go up since she recognizes them and see if she can buy some sheep's milk for cooking and baking, and then also try to get some information about any of the attacks if they know anything about that.
All right. Max, what's Max doing?
Probably similar. I'll probably head off to the cattle farmer, seeing her go to the sheep, and kind of ask the same question of have they lost cattle? Do they know, what attacked? Have they seen anything?
Okay, so Max and Nellie will be together. Coco and Lane, what are you two doing as everybody else just kind of wanders away from you?
In different directions.
Different directions.
I think, okay, so there's,
What do we get up?
do we know what animals went missing specifically? What kind of animals?
You don't totally know, but looking around, there seems to be sheep and chicken in this small town. You know that there is, just every once in a while you catch the smell on the air. If you've ever driven through like on your way north on the 405 up to Bakersfield, and there's just miles and miles of cow farm. It's a smell. It's a distinct smell, and you know that there is a cattle farm nearby. Like on your way to Abbotsford.
The town that I live in right now, yes, I
yes.
can attribute to that.
Oh my God.
So springtime in Abbotsford is nothing but cow shit. So
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Mhm.
Wait,
boy.
okay, so we have people splitting off to the sheep farm?
There's people going to the sheep farm to the north, that's at the north end of this map. There are
Okay.
people going, Kiana and Pepper head over to the Grumpy Yelling Woman. And who else? Pin ducks back inside the white plow.
Okay. So I think my best bet is also I would really like to interrogate a chicken. I think my best bet would be the chickens because I feel like they talk with each other and they like try to protect each other's like
Absolutely.
They all want to protect their own like roost. Or I don't know what it's called.
100%. Chickens are
So I'm gonna
inherently
I'm gonna ask the
gossipy
girl.
catty bitches for
Yep,
sure.
I'm gonna
Like
ask the
that
girl.
is canon. That is basic
I
Lord
feel
of the
like
Rings canon.
I feel like Lane looks up to Coco for some guidance on. So where do we want to go? And I feel like Coco probably gets this look in her face or
Coco's
eyes
like-
when
Coco's
it's like talk to animals. Yes.
the chickens.
Just locks eyes with a chicken from across the courtyard.
Yeah.
And just like,
She fucking makes a beeline. She's like,
Oh
that chicken knows
no!
something.
There's a fantasy light bulb that goes off over her head. She's like, the chickens.
Lovely.
Oh god.
Okay,
God, head of the
so-
chickens. I chase after.
Give me a second to kind of update where everybody is on this map. So that would be Lane and Coco going there, Max and Nellie going north, Kiana and Pepper heading this way, and no, I have somebody mixed up with somebody else. No, I think that's right. The red, I think that's right. The red one is Pen, right? You want to zoom in for me there, Ark, and just double check that that's who that is, because I did not put your guys' names on your tokens, which...
I am at the, we're at the soap maker where the chickens are at.
Okay, so let's go with just an order of of who walked off first. Pepper and Kiana. So this old woman, she doesn't necessarily take a second glance as Pepper draws near, but then lumbering and towering behind her is the imposing figure of Kiana, this human barbarian clad in way too warm for what the season is, fox fur. Or did we decide it was fox fur last week? Wolf fur, that's right. And she immediately kind of gives you an up and down. And there's just this look of like respect that comes across her face. And she shouts out, despite the fact that there is respect, she does shout out, "So, what's your business in our town?"
Kiana would say, "Who's asking?"
"Someone who lives here. Asking someone who clearly doesn't."
Well, Kiana doesn't give classified information to strangers, whether you live here or you don't.
You must not be the head of the tourism board for this town, huh?
That is emotional damage. JJ, you can roll. I'm going to get you guys both to roll intimidate checks because that was badass.
I feel like I should roll at a disadvantage for that somehow because this, standing next to a barbarian,
you know
I feel like it would just come across as comical for me.
No,
like, man.
I think the fact that, like, as a hobbit, you just came outright swinging, that is so unexpected. That's not disadvantage. That adds to the drama of the moment.
I got a 4.
A 4.
Yes.
With did you have any points in intimidate?
No.
Okay. Nikki.
I have a 5.
Hey, those are numbers that exist on dice. She takes a second. Let me just roll for her. Maybe she got a 3.
Wow. Off to a
So
start.
that we got that crit success right off the bat, and it's going downhill quickly. Uh, she takes a second, slams close the shutters, like reaches outside, grabs them and slams them shut. And about 2 seconds later, the front door opens and she comes out, hand on her hip. She is definitely, while fully Hobbit, like truly enjoys all of the meals in the Hobbit calendar. Um, and in that way of like carrying herself, like if Lizzo was a Hobbit, that is who this woman is. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
Oh my God.
just truly self-loving, and nobody is going to fuck with her confidence. And she knows what she's about. She is about her business, and she knows it. Um, and she says, "Well, all right. So your visitors, confidential information. I respect keeping that information quiet, close to the chest. You never know." And she pauses and looks around like real seriously. "You never know who's listening and who's going to use information against you. This world is hard, and I commend you for keeping that information nice and personal. I can respect that. I can respect that. Name's Andorra Grondman. It's a pleasure ish to meet you. You're clearly, you know what you is that wolf fur?"
Why, yes. Yes, it is. You have a good eye.
She sits back, like she leans back kind of against the frame of her house, and she's like, "So you've come to see Brontis then? You've come to take care of the problem."
Perhaps.
I think this is a good thing. I would take care of it myself, but I don't like Brontis, so I don't care if his sheep are getting picked off. You couldn't pay me enough to help him a little bit further, you know? But good for you. You gotta make coin in this world. I understand. I don't hate the players. I hate the game, you know?
Can I ask, why do you hate Brontis so much?
We've had some unfortunate incidences in our village over the last few months. Things unheard of amongst our people. And, you know, Brontis, he's a bit of a fool. He's greedy in a way that our people aren't supposed to be. And he's raised that spoiled brat girl of his to get anything she wants. And life is going to hurt her. He's done her no favors by treating her that way.
Yeah, we saved her from a runaway carriage yesterday, so
Oh,
I
why?
completely understand. She's a handful.
There was lots of crying. I did not understand.
It was mostly me crying, to be fair, but it was completely unrelated to the runaway carriage, I promise.
Runaway carriage? What do you mean, runaway? She lost control of that meek little pony.
Well, it was kind of a weird situation. It was just coming at us, and a friend of mine that talks to animals, don't worry about it, was talking to the pony, and it said it got like burnt by something, and it spooked it, and that's what happened. That's how we got involved in all of this.
She looks around suspiciously again and waves you into her house.
I'm not supposed to go into strangers' houses, but
she's
okay,
already inside.
She's already inside. We're like, okay, I guess we follow.
I appreciate the directness.
Kiana, you have to like duck to get into this house, and while the inside is kind of sparsely furnished, there is still a crampedness for you where you can't fully stand up, but like being on your hands and knees would definitely be inappropriate in this social setting. You know, like you're just gonna be a little bit uncomfortable here.
Okay. So just be like this.
Yeah, like
hello.
Just ignore your neck. Just fold into yourself like a turtle.
So, where did you find Anualda, and where was she coming from when this thing happened?
Well, we were just coming into town and it was like coming out from town. I'm not actually sure where specifically it was coming from, but she said she was meeting a boy. I don't know if I'm supposed to tell you that, but I feel like I can trust you. She was meeting that minstrel guy for reasons. But you didn't hear that from me, guys.
I mean, it's unsurprising. She's definitely, trying to sow her oats before her father marries her off, But good for her. I hope she's safe. That's all, just be safe is, he's probably not even teaching her that. Anyway, ridiculous. Look, that minstrel, there is something. Have you had the dishonor of meeting him yet?
No, we have not had the pleasure. At least I haven't. Have you talked to the minstrel? I don't remember seeing him there.
I do not recall this minstrel that you speak of.
He is a suspicious fellow, and his mom is good stock, okay? Look, I mean, his aunt is good stock. I know that they're not totally like us, but that doesn't matter around here. It's more that he's just fucky, There's just something about him that's off. And I've seen him in the woods talking to someone in a full cloak. And not in the dead of winter. He was dressed normally. That's how I saw him. So why was the other guy in a cloak? That's odd. And just on top of the trial and everything else, there are things happening in this town that shouldn't be happening in a town like ours.
Yeah. Guy in the cloak in the forest? I would say so. Voldemort's around, so definitely not normal.
Sounds interesting.
And did you see any part of this man in the cloak? Is it someone you recognized?
I have my suspicions. It was around when the trial was going on, or shortly after. And look, it was my job to prosecute the Sandybanks kid. That's the role that I played, all right? I don't know whether he did it or not. I did my civic duty.
Someone's got to do it, so thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for saying, I like you. Thank you for saying that. She pulls out like a little, almost like a Mentos tin of, not Mentos, like some other kind of candy has been put in there. And it's very sticky, like maybe they were individually wrapped and she has unwrapped them and put them into this tin. But she offers one to you.
I will definitely take one and start chewing it and immediately have my teeth stuck together, but I'm enjoying it nonetheless.
It is a nettle candy, so there is like that immediate kind of sting to the tongue as you're kind of chewing onto it.
Delicious.
Look, I'm not against new people coming into town. Lord knows towns have people die and have people move away, and we need fresh blood to keep towns going. But, that Lothan kid, I was hired to be the prosecutor. I was voluntold to be the prosecutor. That Lothan kid, when the evidence was pretty damning, volunteered to be the defense for young Sandybanks. And he grew up here, and then he moved away, went to university. He's come back, now with his like fancy degree as if he's better than us. But he was never one to care about others. And now all of a sudden, he's friends with everybody. He's trying to make moves, trying to network. This isn't a city. This isn't a place for that. We've got family connections here. He's circumnavigating the way that things are done. And I just don't like him. And Olmec, the candle maker, dill pickle, who does that? That's unnatural. That goes against the way of things. And she, over the course of like the next 20, 30 minutes, kind of talks your ear off about everybody in town. Rondell, the human sheep rancher, he's trying to get in on Boris's good work. He could have gone and worked for Boris. Boris and the Brace Girdles have run the sheep farm here for ages. Look, I know he was pushed out of his home, but still. I just, Forsty, the dwarf, the blacksmith, he's about his craft. I appreciate that. I got nothing bad to say about him. He does a job. He keeps to himself. He drinks. He goes home. Do you know, like, we all could be a little bit more like that. And she kind of tells you the story of these villagers and this town. Every time she talks about Seth Sandybanks and Lothan Brooktoes, there is like a darkness that sweeps over her face. She still has concerns around the whole situation. The other, as she kind of goes through and she like takes you to the window and like points at the houses of the people as she's talking about them, the one house she doesn't say anything about is the Hard Brace house, the haunted house. She does not bring it up. She doesn't talk about it. Nothing.
I'm assuming that throughout this entire 20, 30 minutes she's talking, I'm just like this in the house, very uncomfortable, very annoyed at the fact that this lady keeps talking. And I can only hope that Pepper is getting something from this, because I'm definitely not. I'm just annoyed. You can just see the annoyance continue to increase in Kiana. Like, wrap it up. Wrap it up.
Thank you so much for the tea, both kinds. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the candy. Definitely removed a cavity or so, or a filling. I'm just wondering though, that one house at the end there, I've noticed the people are kind of like walking around it. Is something wrong with that house? Is it about to explode?
I'm not one to speak on matters that go on in the town. People deserve their privacy. So I keep my lips closed. I'm not a gossip, after like 30 minutes of her just laying everybody's business out. And she just kind of politely, not even politely, just kind of declines to comment on it.
Understandable. Well, we're going to go. My friend's neck is never going to be the same. So we're going to head out. Thank you again so much. This has been lovely. We should definitely do this again. We're in town for a time. So thank you. Have a great rest of your day. I really appreciate your time.
By the way, get Prontus. If you are going to go kill those wolves for him, she kind of motions to Kiana. If you are going to kill those wolves for him, make sure he pays you real good. Make sure he pays your hotel. Make sure he pays for per head of these wolves. Make sure that there is a premium. Know your worth. Don't let him cheat you for less.
Thank you. Kiana will definitely make sure to be paid well.
She nods and immediately like takes up her position. You can see she drags one of those, like, that stool that your grandma or your great grandma had, that it's like a stool but the seat lifts up and it becomes a step stool. You guys all know what that is. She pulls one over and sits on it, looking out the window, and starts immediately yelling at kids again as you guys walk away. And about this time we head over to Nellie and Max, who have made their way north. Not like made their way north. They've headed to the north end of town, all of a 3-minute walk to go and talk with Boris Bracegirdle. You see him leaning on the fence, the cane kind of at his side, as Tom is working in the paddock there, kind of separating out sheep. It looks like they're just checking them to make sure they're healthy, getting some food and vitamins into them. and you guys
And
approach.
Nellie walks up and she's like, Master Bracegirdle, it's nice to see you again this morning. I was wondering if you had any sheep's milk to purchase. I was planning on making some cheese later on if I got a chance. And your stock looks beautiful out there.
He turns to you, and just this look of like um of kindness and recognition crosses his little elderly hobbit face. And he goes, "Ah, yes. Thank you for visiting me. I really love it here. This is my favorite place in the whole town to be. And you're right. They are fine stock. My family's been raising these for several generations. I fear the last Bracegirdle to own the farm, but Tom's doing a good business. Yes, of course, I've got milk, and you needn't buy it. It is the least I can do for someone of your talents in the kitchen." And he's definitely just very, very sweet to you as he's offering this.
And
We hear that. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Nellie thanks him very much, and as she's just kind of looking out at the sheep, she's like, "Oh yes, and then we heard when we were coming into town that there have been some attacks on some of the livestock. You haven't had anything happen to yours, have you? I would hate to hear if you had."
It's a sad business. The Unfortunately, yeah, we've lost a few in the night. I've never in all of the history of my family have wolves come this close to town. It's simply unheard of. Even in the famine times, even when the fires were raging through the north, the wolves never came into town like this. It is most distressing. So I surely hope that Magistrate Bellwether is going to be able to get some people to take care of this ugly business for us soon.
What makes you believe that they're wolves?
The tooth that we found in one of the sheep, I think for sure. Also, the fact that the claw marks were on the barn. We're fairly certain. I mean, I guess it could be. What else do you know would do that kind of a thing? And he's like, oh my God, maybe there's something worse than wolves out there.
There's a lot of predators I've come across in my day. Is there any chance I could have a look at that tooth?
Of course. And he takes you to both around the side of the barn, and you can see very distinct claw marks on the barn door where the latch was like pulled off. You can see that they've reattached it. There's like a fresh plank of wood where the latch has been, where a new latch has been attached, but like very distinct claw marks. It certainly
like
seems
wolves?
like, yeah. It certainly seems like wolves.
Well, yeah, thank you for showing us. And hopefully we can investigate a little bit and maybe we can help with the problem.
That would be much appreciated. Come in. Let's get you some of that milk. And he brings you in, and you can see there is a little like stanchion where a little milking stanchion. There's a couple of pails sitting there already kind of separating. How much of this would you like?
Well, just a couple quarts would be lovely. And as they're getting the milk, she's also going to ask him if all of the families who raise sheep and cattle have been attacked, or if there seems to be any sort of a pattern to the attacks.
I think all of us have had a few taken. It doesn't seem to have been directed at anybody in particular. Wolves, will go after kind of the weakest of each flock first. I fear that they'll come back now. It's been a fair few days. They're not. I don't know that they've gone after kind of the chickens, and you'd have to go speak to the cattle ranch up north. I'm not sure that they've had anybody, that they've had any difficulties in the way that we have. Sheep are, a little bit easier meal than a full bull or cow anyway. So that's to be expected.
Oh, well, thank you so very much for your time and this milk. I'll definitely, once I make some cheese, I'll have to bring you some by.
And his eyes just light up. And he's like, I haven't had fresh made cheese. I mean, I've bought some. Obviously, Narina makes, Harv makes delicious meals for us. But ever since my Corinne passed away, I haven't had anything made for me. That would be just delightful. Thank you. If you make it, I will keep supplying you with as much as you need. Thank you, ma'am.
And as he mentions the loss of his wife, you see Nellie clutch the amulet or the necklace that she has around her neck and just look sad for a moment, remembering her Ned, who has also passed away.
And there's this moment of like just connection in a way that two people who have lost not just a loved one, but really like a partner in life. After so many years of being together, just that loss is a bit like losing something of yourself. And there's just this moment of connection where you two kind of both intimately understand that sense of the piece that's missing.
All that goes straight over Max's head.
Absolutely.
Giant tooth.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He hands you like it. Make me a, what would this be? In D&D, we'd call it a nature check. Let's see, survival or
Survival, I think, makes the most sense.
yeah, I think survival makes sense. Give me a survival check.
Hey, 2 6s.
Hey, critical success.
Hey.
Look at that.
Yeah. You Nelly, man, we got it.
Look, the Nelly Max duo here is gonna solve the whole thing while you guys are buying dill pickle candles. And
Hey, those
having
are great
nettle
candles.
candies. They are great candles. This is not a wolf tooth. This is it is definitely looks like it is related to a wolf tooth, but this is much bigger.
I don't say anything like in front of him. I'm just like, yeah, no, we'll definitely solve the wolf problem. And kind of like once me and Nelly are out of earshot, we might have issues. This is bigger. This is not a wolf tooth. This is much, much bigger.
Well, that's definitely concerning.
As you kind of turn around to go, he says, and again, I should apologize. I hope we didn't concern you last night with talk about the haunted house. We shouldn't have brought things up in such pleasant company.
Oh, that's certainly I understand how these things go. It is kind of interesting though. I've never heard of a haunted house before, at least not back in my village. I mean, what is it about it that has everyone so concerned? We've noticed that no one seems to go near the house.
No, Holdman. My name's Boris. His name was Holdman. Holdman Hardbrace was a good fellow, a hobbit you could trust. And his disappearance was concerning. It was, I mean, I don't think it was the wolves. It might have been the wolves now that I'm thinking about it. I'm sure that it wasn't the wolves. But it was not expected. Usually when, an older one like myself passes away, it's in our sleep. It's peaceful. Holdman just disappeared. And that is not normal for us hobbits. We don't normally just disappear. And poor Tom woke up the next morning and his uncle was gone, house abandoned. It was suspicious. So he had already been working for me. And while the investigation, while, things were being looked in on the house, I invited him to come and stay here, and he just never went back. Holdman was a suspicious fellow. Ever since that Sandy Banks boy had been sent away, he just was nervous about how things were happening in the town, and he wouldn't talk really about it. I don't know that Tom would tell you too much. I know that Brontis Bellwether investigated Hardman's disappearance, but I don't know that anything came of it. He would have taken, let's see, who would he have taken? Olmec and Forsty, the blacksmith, dwarven bloke, lovely, very kind, keeps to himself. And they would have probably gone with Brontis to go look at it, so you could talk to them. I don't know. The fool Brontis probably isn't going to tell you anything other than, grandstanding about how he's taking care of business in this town.
I think we're supposed to have dinner with him later. I'm not sure I'm looking forward to it anymore.
Oh, well, look, his chefs make good meals. You'll be well fed at the very least. Not as good as our fair lady here.
Oh, nobody's good now.
Thank you. Well, we don't want to keep you from your day, but thank you so much for the milk and for the information. It's definitely a different place than the Shire is, but it is good to see good hobbits even out here in the world.
I don't want to give you the wrong impression of our town. We're a fine town that usually has nothing going on. It's been quite nice for all of my life until very recently. The world is changing, and I find that I'm not as eager for it. If I ever was, definitely not for it these days. I want to retire in peace. And hopefully young Tom will take over for me, and I can spend some days on the porch with some good pipe weed and some fine ale and as much cheese as you will bring me.
Well, that sounds like a very good retirement. I hope you were able to have that soon.
And he nods and kind of escorts you both out of the barn, taking extra care to make sure this latch is on tight. He does not want to lose any more sheep. We'll duck quickly into the White Plow, where Pin has popped in to go see Narina and Harv. And it's kind of in between meals. So you find Narina moving heavy kegs. She's just lifting them up like nobody's business. And bringing them around and kind of restocking things. You can hear Harv singing loudly and off key in the kitchen. What do you speak? Do you speak Hobbit?
I don't believe so. I forgot where I put this on my sheet. I speak Sindarin and Western, just human languages.
So, I mean, it doesn't take a lot to recognize right away. This is either a drinking song or a sea shanty. They are very distinct, and every culture has them, a very distinct kind of cadence. And you can hear him occasionally banging the pot to make extra emphasis. And whatever it is, every once in a while you hear his sons from upstairs sing down the chorus. And it seems to be just the picture of a happy family getting through their daily work before work gets busy.
This is so contagious. If I didn't have a mission, I just would want to be part of this. Absolutely.
And Narina spots you and she says, "Is everything okay? Did you need some accommodation or something? I mean, more than, was everything okay with your room?"
Oh, more than okay. I have no qualms about that. I just forgot to ask, about the business with the cart yesterday, how we kind of came into town. The young lady mentioned Doric, a traveling minstrel. I didn't know if you knew when he would be back around or where I could find him.
Give me an insight check.
Okay. I feel like I'm not gonna roll like everyone else. 10.
Well, hey, look, 10's not shabby. Because I rolled a 3, so 10's not shabby. You see two things right away, and you clock it because this look has been given to you many times in your life. You see the look of like a disappointed family member look up to like the ceiling of kind of looking at where Doric's room is in the tavern. Just this look of like kind of disappointment in who they are related to. You know, like really it's time for him to get his life together. He's like 21. He should already like own a house, you know, kind of a situation. Kind of unrealistic standards maybe, but and then you also sense this like love and this concern for her sister's son. And she says, my nephew is he works late. He's a shift worker, you know, sings all hours in the tavern here for us. I don't expect him up for another couple of hours. Is everything okay? Was there an issue with the performance last night?
No, nothing with your hospitality. That has been more than hearty for such a small town. I was just curious. We ended up meeting Anolda on the road yesterday with some business about her cart. We thought maybe Doric had seen something or knew something based on what she said. So I was just trying to catch him.
And you immediately see another look cross her face of like, this fucking child. I knew that he was going to do this. And she just kind of like steadies herself. She grits her teeth a little bit and she says, I would hate to find out that he had knowledge of where she was yesterday, but he has been disappearing before the dinner rush for the last couple of weeks. And after you speak with him, please let me know so that I can also have a conversation with him. It is entirely inappropriate to be carrying on with that girl.
I didn't mean to pry in that way. I was just making sure that there was no danger on why her horse got spooked, and if he was a witness, I didn't mean to insert myself.
No, I understand, and Lord knows if he's put himself in the position to be witness to some of her dramatics after the warnings that I've given him, then he will have to live with those consequences. But he could have a bright future, and I would hate him to be tied down and roped into that family if Brontis would even consider. I doubt that it would happen. She starts to mumble to herself a little bit.
I mean, I for one am a fan of dramatic women being one myself, but I think he'd be lucky to catch one.
I mean no offense, my lady. It's not that she flits from thing to thing, and my nephew seems to be her most recent acquisition. And my concern is that he is a good man who would try to do right by her, and she would tire of him, and there would be nowhere for him to go, being trapped into a marriage of position and power. It's not unheard of in the bellwether families.
I can relate to that a little bit, at least. Would Anolda have any past interests that may have been giving Doric any trouble?
Now, that's a good question. She's just coming of age, so she loved that pony. She lost her mom at a young age, poor thing. It's definitely what's led Brontis to raise her as she is. Um, There's certainly boys around the village who have followed her around when they were younger, but none that I think that she has set her sights on as obviously as my nephew. Let's see. The boys that were raised around the same age that are still in town, that would be Tom Sandheaver. Good head on his shoulders. I don't know that he would have anything to do with it. Seth isn't in town anymore. And Lothan has just come back recently. Returned from university, went and got his degree. Credit to his family.
I think I met Tom last night playing some cards. You
Yes.
mentioned Seth. I know he's not in town. Do you know where he is now?
That's very odd. My daughter just mentioned that Anualda had received a letter from him. I don't know where he is. I would assume that he wouldn't have gone too far. Maybe Bree. I doubt he would have gone south with the wars.
Interesting. Well, thank you so much for the hospitality and letting me know about Doric. I'm sure I'll catch him before his show tonight.
I will let him know to make sure that he speaks to you.
Sure.
Thank you for the information.
Thank you. Really.
And she kind of goes back to cleaning. You see her pick up this broom as you get ready to turn to leave, and start aggressively just fucking going at a cobweb that you can't see that seems to be just below the point of Doric's room that she had looked at earlier, just really banging it into the ceiling there. And who do we have less? The chicken talkers. Let's go to Coco and Lane.
That's our band name now, the Chicken Talkers.
Chicken Squad.
The chicken squad. You, Coco, you clock these chickens from a mile away.
Mhm.
These are beautiful red. They've got this deep, like almost a cardinal red plumage that you haven't seen before. These are northern hobbit bred chickens. So they are very fat with very tiny little legs, and they kind of waddle like a pregnant cat, like they can't, like Zelda style chickens. You know what I'm talking about? These are real
Yeah.
specific. And you go over and you see a
Oh, God,
fair
they're red.
Red.
It's a warning sign. It's like a Black Widow
God.
mark. Lane is convinced.
Oh my God.
Um,
They're brightly colored.
She doesn't even know it.
you see a fair-headed hobbit, not unlike Pepper, a young lass out kind of scattering feed amongst the chickens and singing to them quietly. She carries a decent tune, this lass, but there's a sadness to it. Do you speak Hobbit, Coco?
I don't think I speak Hobbit. I speak bunch of languages, but not Hobbit.
Being an elf, you know a song of mourning when you hear it.
Mhm.
You know a song that just has that somberness and that loss that is being expressed in it. And indeed, what she's singing is such a song.
Mhm.
And she sings it kind of quietly to herself. She's not trying to be noticed. And as you draw closer, you smell lye for sure. This is a soap maker's home. You smell lye for sure, but also a variety of other kind of scents. There's like a vaguely chai scent. And there is a
Dill pickle.
Yeah.
she hasn't quite perfected the dill pickle soap, but Olmec has really been trying to convert her. So
I think it's perfect.
you know. And as you draw close, you indeed see this kind of older hobbit woman, a little bit of a stoop to her shoulders, a good amount of gray in her otherwise blonde hair. And you step in, and Ma Sandybanks welcomes you warmly. She goes, hello, welcome to town. Are you here to buy some soaps?
Oh, hello there.
We love soap.
We do love soap. We have actually purchased, I believe, one of your soaps the other day. But that's not why we're here.
A candle.
Oh,
Yeah.
a candle. Oh no. Do you have dill pickle soap? Now that we're on the subject, actually.
Did Olmec send you here? I keep telling that man that I will not go into business with him. We don't need to combine. My soap maker has stood on its own for many years, and I don't need to go into. You tell him that if he wants to send a message, he can come and speak to me himself.
Oh, we'll tell him. We'll send that message for you, ma'am.
We will let him know. That is actually, I came here because, could I talk to your chickens?
Oh God. Oh no.
A completely normal question.
Ma'am, my friend here is afflicted. There's something wrong with her, and she just has a
No, I've heard stories of
animals.
I've heard the stories of the elves. The wizard that comes through for Midsummer Festival tells the stories. I know that your kind has deep connections.
The elves,
I mean, will it hurt them?
No, absolutely not. Perhaps emotionally. Has there been a loss recently? Is that why you were singing that song?
So you're talking to Ma Sandybanks, and as you do, you see, especially because as she started to get more kind of aggravated, there was like this cough, this deep rattly cough, and immediately the hobbit lass came in from the yard, and she was like, "Mom, are you okay?" And that's when you see the sister, her daughter there, and when you bring up loss, she kind of looks at you and then very quickly looks away. And she says, yes, my brother is no longer with us. We don't really like to talk about it. I'm sure you can understand.
Oh, I understand. I'm sorry to hear about that.
She yeah.
At the very least, it wasn't one of your chickens. She's like, oh, I don't fucking know.
No, the chickens. Do you suspect that our chickens are in danger?
Well, my friend is just. It's been far too many hours since she's last talked to an animal, and I think there's some kind of curse she has upon her where she feels the deep desire and need to speak with an animal. So it would help us out immensely if you would allow us, or allow her. I have no interest in speaking with your chickens. Allow her to speak with your chickens. I promise no harm will come to her, and I will be keeping my friend safe so that the chickens do not attack her with their fiery gaze.
Fiery gaze.
Like very dramatic with this.
Yeah, absolutely. You see them much more confused by Lane's conversation than by Coco asking to literally converse with chickens. They are much more confused by Lane. But you know, dwarves are an odd bunch. The blacksmith in town keeps to himself, so you know they don't really know very much about dwarves. Yes, of course. Peony, could you take them out to the yard? And the girl says, yeah, of course, Mom. Sit down. Let me get you some water. Don't get so excited. You know, the doc says that we have to be careful about that cough. And she gets her mom a little like cup of water, and puts a couple of like rose petals in it just to add a little sweetness to the flavor, and takes you out to the yard. And you see a flock of about 6 chickens. They seem to all be they seem to all be hens. No roosters among the flock. And they're eating and being chicken-like.
Okay. I'm in my element. I can cast beast speech. I so she's gonna kneel down to the ground so she can get at eye level with one of the hands and just kind of like put her hand out like very gently and as she casts beast speech. And she's just going to say, "Hello, girls. If I could ask you a few questions. Have you noticed any animals going missing lately?"
Um, I've never had to stop and consider what a chicken would sound like. So you're just going to have to, even though I knew this was coming, because you said this like an hour ago, it never clocked that I would need to speak as a chicken.
Lane is like staring intently as Coco is like,
Yeah, literally. Because when you do beast speech,
yeah,
you make the fucking animal
yeah,
voice.
literally just
So she's
watching
like,
her
you know,
family.
being very patient and like, you know, talking slowly and kind with these chickens, but it just comes out like insane, like chicken noises.
Yeah, I feel like chickens are
We'll find whoever put this curse on you, Coco, and we will end them.
especially because in our canon, chickens are gossipy catty bitches. They're French for sure. In all of the best ways. Like I say that with love, living in a
Love it.
province that borders on like a bilingual French province. I say this with all the love. And at first they don't even pay attention to you. They're not interested. But you know, you continue to kind of cluck at them, and finally one of them turns and goes, "And why are you speaking with us?"
Oh, that's what you sound like. Okay. So I'm merely here to help me, help you, and keep you safe. From what I've heard, none of the hens have gone missing, but there have been other animals that have been disappearing around town, and I just wanted to know if you've seen anything suspicious.
We have heard that the stupid sheep have gone missing. This is true. We do not concern ourselves with big, dumb, smelly animals. We have a safe home. The humans are good servants to us. We are happy here.
Well, aren't you worried once they sort of pick off the stupider, bigger animals that they might return to your coop and start, you know, picking off bits of your flock?
But we are such little animals. We would not, they would have to kill the whole. And then there's this moment of like stark realization. And they're like, holy shit. They could come for us. How could
They
we not
could.
see this coming?
That's
And
what I'm worried about. That's what I'm trying to prevent. It's horrible that some, you know, other animals haven't made it, but I, you know, hopefully.
well, we do not care about them as previously mentioned, but look, this is good. This is a very good thing that you have brought to us. So, how may we keep ourselves safe? You will talk to the humans? No?
Yes, I can be your emissary, but I need more information to go on. Have you heard anything? Because you're outside most of the time, except for when you're in your coop. Have you heard anything suspicious at night? Or even during the
Yes.
day?
We have heard the wolves. Of course, they come through. They are not. Usually, we hear them from afar. As they draw closer, they sound different. They sound much more menacing for the sheep. But you know, they are smelly. So, goodbye. So we do hear this. Yes, we do hear the footsteps of the people, the drunkards as they come and go. One of them tried to pee on the coop. This was very rude.
She shakes her head disapprovingly.
It was so smelly for days. It was truly disgusting. But no, we have not. They have not certainly come into our yard, or come to see us. I do you. Oh, they will be coming. We need to protect the eggs. And she kind of turns around and like gives this order of like, go protect the eggs. And like several of the flock kind of go away. Thank you, Mother Inn, for coming to save us. You will continue to speak with the humans. We also do require a fair bit more of this seed, and she like pecks a little piece of seed and like comes over and drops it on your boot. This is very good. It's not super carbs, so like we feel better when we're eating it. It's kind of keto thing, and if you could tell them this is what we prefer, not the other stuff is more like filler. It's not good for us.
Okay, well, I will definitely put in that recommendation for you. Um, she takes the seed up off of her boot and just like puts it in her hand so she has a reference of the seed. And then she's going to like kind of look around. Um, so you said that they sounded more menacing when they got closer. Did they sound not like a normal wolf?
Ah, yes. I mean, we have not seen the wolves ever in the town, but we hear them on the full moon nights. They are so fucking loud and obnoxious. It's truly an abomination. And so, but when they come close, I mean, some of them sound the same, but there is this one. He sounds how you say bossy and
Like a leader.
yes, but bad leadership skills, more toxic Wall Street bro culture.
Oh, well, I'm glad you don't have any of that here.
We are matriarchy, Mother Inn. We are so glad that you have come to join us and protect us.
Yes, I love that for you. I will protect your matriarchy, and so only on this full moon, or would it be other nights that this would happen?
This is when they are the most loud and their sound carries all the way through the valley, but I'm sure there are other nights.
Okay, that is concerning. Would I know anything about significance of full moons and certain, monstrosities, or is this all completely
Lichens are
foreign?
not really a part of the canon as far as I'm aware, so it's not like a werewolf
Okay.
situation if that's what the concern is. Definitely it's
Okay.
just wolves.
Okay. All right. Well, that is interesting. Lane, you're not going to believe this, and she's gonna like fill her in on like all
Uh,
the shit that she got from the chicken.
We have one more request, if you do not mind, Mother Inn.
Yes.
If you could go tell Sharinda's flock, they are over this way, and she kind of like ruffles her wing across town. You tell her that her mother was always a bitch, and she is never welcome back to our flock.
Okay, so this is Charlene
Sharind.
and
Sharind.
Charlene.
Sha-
Sorry, my chicken isn't very okay. I will try
Charinde. Sharind.
Charlene. Okay. And her mother was always a bitch?
Always a bitch, that one. She was the worst.
Okay. Well, I'll let them know that. And they're never welcome in your flock.
Not here.
Okay, she's not welcome in your flock.
No.
Okay, I will tell that. I will get the seed recommendation. Anything else I can do for you?
This is good for now. You come back, visit me later.
Okay. Do you like pets or no pets?
I do not prefer them.
Okay. Okay. Well, I will see you later, madam. It was a joy talking to you. What was your name?
Fuck, what is a chicken's name?
I'm sorry.
She says, no, that's
Number
okay.
2.
She says, my name is Charike.
Charike. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Sherry K. I will hopefully see you alive and well later. Thank you.
And she kind of almost curtsies. Thank you, Mother Inn. You are
Oh.
dismissed.
Thank you. She's gonna curtsy back and get up. Lane.
What kind of spell did that beast cast upon you? It had you bowing down to it, and half of them ran away. And what were they saying?
Well, that was beast speech. Lane, you've seen me do it before. But
She looks at the chickens. And Lane goes, "Buck, buck, buck!"
no, you have to.
We're gonna
yeah.
roll. Give me a
Oh my god.
just a wits check, just to see if you can even get like any of the words.
What if you say something horrible?
That was a 1 and a 3, and my wits are +2, so that's a 4, 5, 6 total.
You see Sharike turn back and kind of look at you strangely, and she says,
I look back at her strangely.
You hear her, Court, just as like the spell is kind of wearing off and you're losing concentration on it. You hear her say, all of these dwarves, they are so weird.
So wait, when I had beast speech active, was I able to hear what she like?
Oh
said?
yeah,
Like,
for
said?
sure. Lane, oh my gosh, I just lost my headphones. Give me just a second. Lane just said, I can't hear you, so I'm just gonna tell you, and hopefully my headphones will work here in a second. Lane had said to this poor chicken who's now concerned about her eggs, that you know what? Hold on 1 second, because wait. When I switched headphones, we lost audio for you guys.
Oh no.
So no, that's okay.
Oh.
Okay, it's back.
Okay, it's back.
So you hear what Lane had said was basically something along the lines of like, red would only be a good color for my bare ass.
That feels like a threat. Oh, it's hilarious. I love that for her. Yeah, so half of those chickens ran away, probably up to something. And then I saw that one made you bow to it. You don't have to bow to any chickens. What kind of... Did they put a curse on you to get all these animals? You have to be more careful.
Sort of ending the interaction there. But what's more important is that there seems to be something going on with the wolves that are visiting town and sort of picking off animals. They haven't picked off any chickens yet.
Are you going to talk to them too, Coco?
I don't know if I want to talk to those ones, actually, considering they're eating other, not wild animals. That's
so you do admit that there are evil animals out there, these wolves. I don't want to talk to them.
A little bit more gray area when it comes to the wild.
Wolves are good, and the horse and the chicken are the evil ones.
Lane, you're losing focus.
Okay, I'm sorry.
In front of her face, and she's like, right.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, so what's the plan?
The plan, I think I need to see what the moon cycle is like, because apparently they're more aggressive on a full moon. I don't know what that means, but I know it's not good.
My mother always said that the full moon makes people crazy, so maybe it makes animals crazy too.
And definitely, I would say Lane, having been well versed in kind of dwarven battle tactics, it is well established among the dwarves of the hills that the wolves are always aggressive. It's just that they are louder and like a bit stupider. They give away their position more easily when the full moon comes. But wolves are never to be trusted and always worth killing when they are found.
Yeah, wolves they're never to be trusted. The least trustful of all the animals. That's why you see Kiana knows what's up, because she's got the wolf around the neck, kind of like, look it, I slayed your brethren, and if you come my way, I will slay you too. See, Kiana knows. She knows what she's doing. Is that
what it's for? I thought it was
it's intimidating.
Like a warmth thing.
No, not for warmth. No, it's intimidation. Imagine if I wore a beast around my neck, how scary I would be and terrifying. If I were to fight a same kind of beast, they'd be like, oh shit, you've got my brother around your neck. I better get the hell out of here, right?
Okay, well, When you put it that way, that makes a lot more sense. I think if I saw someone coming with like an arm wrapped around their neck, I would probably
Yep.
run.
Yeah, I heard a tale once of a guy doing that in a dwarven battle. He wrapped
That
a
is
leg
horrifying.
around his neck, and people ran away. They probably thought he was mad. He might have been a little mad, but we don't really talk about that. My uncle, he's kind of. But
Your uncle?
anyways, wolves are very loud and stupid around the full moon. Like I said, the full moon makes people crazy, and animals too. Makes them a little, stupider or something. I don't know. People do stupid stuff around the full moon. Animals too. Like there's yeah. You elves know that too? You guys should know this. Your mother ever never tell you about that?
I mean, there's been plenty of stories. I don't know if there've been anything like what you've heard. That's sort of why we travel, right? It's like you have so many different stories.
Yeah.
But I think we should probably pass this along to the others.
Evil red hen and how I told it off. Did you see I told that hen and they walked away? You should try that next time,
Well, not when I'm trying to get information. That's a very useful spell for getting information. A lot of people, can lie or say things that just don't make sense, but animals are generally pretty straightforward.
Are you saying animals don't lie, Coco? Because I'm pretty sure they probably lie too.
Not in my experience. Why would they lie? What would they have to gain? Now
get what they want.
Oh, she's going to get what she wants. She's going to get some better seed. Oh,
there it
is.
is.
Tell them. She goes to who did she ask me to go to? The older lady or the younger lady?
She does not distinguish between which ones are her servants.
Okay, she'll probably go to the younger lady because she was like sweeping up around and the open up her palm with the seed inside and point it out and be like, excuse me, do you know this feed right here?
Yeah, it's part of our seed mix.
Would there be a way for you to get more of these?
I mean, it's a mix. We buy the barrel and the fellow brings it to us. I could ask, is there a reason?
Yes. So I talked to your chickens and they seem very pleased with your care of them, but they did have one complaint. They want more of just these seeds.
Oh, all right. I'll see what I can do. Thank you for that, Miss
Elf.
Of course. I appreciate your kindness.
Oh, I am Coco.
Coco
or Covette. So many people call me Coco. They called me Coco.
I came up with the name. I take full credit. I am Lane, the bard, wandering minstrel of these lands. I travel far and wide to share the tales all across this realm.
Well,
probably heard of me.
I don't really get out much, but I'm sure that you're well known in many places.
Yeah, super well known.
I must say you perplex me, Sir Dwarf, because I mean, the only other dwarf we ever have even had is in town, and he rarely speaks at all. And you just you're quite the chatterbox.
Oh yeah, he's I'm kind of like an outlier dwarf, He sounds more like a inlier dwarf. I'm more of an outlier, I
see.
I am probably the most charming dwarf bard you'll ever meet.
And so humble.
Yes, very humble.
You are certainly
also I'm a lady. A lady dwarf.
I'm so and her cheeks just get bright red. I'm so sorry. Please, I
totally okay. It's fine. There's people spread rumors that there's no lady dwarves, and they're fools. They're foolish. We braid our beards like this. You notice the guys, they braid theirs a little differently.
So everybody braids. It's just the type of braid is.
Yeah, it's a little confusing. Braids for like who you're into. If you're married, you're single. Everyone. It's a lot.
That is fast. I am curious now to know more about the blacksmith. Perhaps he's been speaking in a way that we didn't realize all along. I will have to ask him about his braids next time that I see him.
You should pester the heck out of him. Dwarves love to be pestered.
I Thank you. Thank you.
He will be thrilled at your company.
And she genuinely seems eager to get the correct seed for the chickens. And it's been such a thank you for coming and helping us with this. I wish that I can give you some soap in exchange for your troubles of helping us to know the needs of our animals better. And she hands you, like, it's Hobbit size, so it's like a little bar, but
Also,
it's
This is perfect.
it's this beautiful, like, it's wrapped in like a brown paper packaging, and it's got this little detailed, like, wax stamp on it. It's a red seal, and it's got a hobbit man with a long, full beard is the man in the wax seal, and she hands it to you. It smells delicious. It is like a chocolate and chai mixture.
Blaine takes a bite of this stuff. It's good quality stuff. This is you got the flavors down perfectly. You have our thanks. This is beautiful. And she tucks it away.
Bubbles coming out of your mouth every time you talk.
Oh my god.
Oh my, she turns to Coco. You may want to encourage her to not do that. We use lye in our soaps. That's not, we don't have poison control locally, but maybe, like, she should go throw that up.
Lane, so
you want to try the candle? I tried the candle earlier. It tastes just like dill.
You tried the candle? Do you want to go drinking right now?
You want?
Let's
I could
go.
share one of my dwarvish drinking songs.
Oh, can I have that, by the way? The soap.
Hey, you want to try
soap?
Yeah, hands the soap over.
Thank you for the soap. She puts it away.
And
let's go make you throw up.
Drag her, like, forcefully back to the white plow where Penn is just kind of stepping out of the doorway. My friends, I'm gonna call it for tonight because I am crazy sick. I'm sorry, viewers, and my medicine is wearing off, and I can feel myself losing it. I think the chickens may have done something to my brain. This has been a delightful couple of hours of experience with you all. I adore this, and I cannot wait to see where we go. I'm gonna get everybody to go around, same order as to start the game, and tell us who you are and where people can come and find you for the other amazing things that you do. And we'll reconvene next week with our group sharing intel and maybe going to see Bronte's Bellwether. So
maybe trying some more soap,
and maybe having a soap shot contest. We're not sure. Nikki.
Hey everybody, Nikki here. I've played Pepper, the Hobbit Mariner. You can find me on Instagram. That's where I'm most active, at I'm Poppy Field. And please tune in on Sunday on the Vancouver by Night channel at 2 p.m. because we're having our season finale for our Fandolin by Night game, and it's gonna be fucking lit, dude. So please come and check that out. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. Momo.
I'm Momo. I've been Lane, your eccentric dwarven wandering bard, minstrel, whatever it's called. Sorry. And you can find me. Oh my goodness, you can find me on Saturdays on my own channel at A Minstrel's Tale at 6 p.m. PST as I DM Rima the Frost Maiden, on Mondays on Talking XP for Curse Estrad, and here on Fridays for this amazing time with these lovely fellowship of wonderful folks.
Fantastic. Lydia.
Hello, I am Lydia. I have been playing Maximilian, the Human Warrior. You can find me on my website at lydiasnerdverse.com and on all social media channels at Lydia's Nerdverse.
Lulu.
Hi, I'm Lulu. I've been playing Nellie, the sticky bun baking grandmother hobbit. You can find me on Twitter at LuluNWA. And there's a link to my Instagram, but I can't remember what the actual Instagram is, but there is a link on my Twitter.
And it's in chat. We've got commands. Derek set up all the commands for us, so it's all good. JJ.
Hi, I'm JJ, and I have been playing Kiana, the Human Barbarian. You guys can catch me on Twitter at JJ _Cray, or you can find me over here on Twitch as BandReaper97. And yeah, I'm chilling, doing cooking streams, and enjoying my time with these lovely ladies. Yeah.
I feel like we need to get you the Middle Earth cookbook and get you to like make some
Oh
Middle
my
Earth
God.
recipes.
Yes, I've been thinking
Yeah.
about that.
Do it. Do
Yes.
it. Do it. Fantastic. Court.
Hello, I'm Court. I played Coco the Elf Magician and Chicken Whisperer tonight. You can find me on Twitter at Court Games. And I also play on Momo's Rhyme of the Frost Maiden stream on Saturday. So you can see me there tomorrow.
Fantastic. Arc.
Hi, I'm Arcanian Ending, or ARC for short. You can find me everywhere at Arcanian Ending. I was playing Penn, the human noble, tonight. And I stream Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday on Twitch, and then obviously here on Fridays. So thank you so much, Sarah.
Oh, you're so welcome. I have been your narrator, Sarah. It is my very distinct pleasure to bring this story to life with these amazing women at my table. You can find me here on Friday nights. And Sunday, as Nikki said, I am the DM for Phandalin by Night, which is a D&D game on a Vampire the Masquerade channel. And we're at our season 1 ending. We're playing Lost Mines of Phandelver, and we're in Cragmaw Castle. And Droop, our little hoblet, or our little goblin that we rescued, is in grave danger. And Nikki's character rolled a natural 1 on a wisdom saving throw in a dark wizard's lair. So I'm sure everything's great. But
That's
please
fine.
come and see us there. And you can also check out Community Cleric on Thursday nights, where I interview amazing women. I just do a one-on-one interview. Amber Space Jamber is my guest this week. That's on my channel. And please go and follow Girls Run These Worlds, which is a new channel that I'm a part of, which is just like what you're seeing tonight. It is a place for women to tell amazing stories and games. And we have, we premiered our first show this week, and I have 8 shows in production right now. So we're hitting the ground running. And thank you. Extremely huge thanks to 2 really amazing men. Sean at Akinfoolish, who does our music. You just nailed it out of the park. I love the music for this. He does my music for everything, for all time. And so if you ever need music done for your stream, Sean is your man. And thank you, obviously, to Derek at DMDM Studios for giving us this space to tell this amazing story. It has been our pleasure to have you join us here and join our fellowship. And we will see you all next Friday. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.